let's do this here, Phil. I'm glad to have you on tonight. Like I said, behind the scenes, we've had to do a lot to try to get Philip Vance on tonight. For those who did not get to see this young man the last time we spoke to him, but this is Philip Vance. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Philip.
What's going on? I'm Philip Vance. Straight out, coming out of Rush City. I'm in Rush City currently, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here with you on your show today.
Now, hey, last time I didn't get to ask you, Philip. My question to you is: are you in prison for life? Is that what they hung on your head?
Yeah, they gave me a life sentence with the possibility of parole. So I'll be eligible for parole in 2034.
2034. So for those
less than 10 years.
In 2034, and by that time, right now, how many years have you done in prison?
I've been locked up 22 years.
Philip Vance have been in prison right now for 22 years for a crime and a murder that the Minneapolis, not Minneapolis, but the Minnesota justice system put on him. And we're asking them to release him. We're asking people like Kathy Kerner to release this young man. For those who don't know your story, Phil, now that we can actually see you, why don't you just give us a brief run over about your story?
I came to Minnesota at a young age. I had just turned 18 and moved here, and I was different demographic from Florida. I was trying to understand the area. For a time I was doing good. They got me a job. It was working. Got a place. And was around some good people. Then hard times fell upon me, and I fell back into some old habits. I started back selling drugs and being in the streets. And, in process of doing that, I was snapped up one day by the police, and I was told that I was a suspect to a murder. And, I told them that, I sell drugs. I don't, I'm not a violent person. And, they had a lot of questions for me, and, maybe a year later after that, I was charged with the murder, and a year after that, I was convicted, and I was in prison serving a life sentence. They didn't have any evidence connected to the murder. During the time that I was waiting to go to trial, the Metro Gang Strike Force, they corroborated with other confidential informants and other informants that they knew from the past, and they put together a hellified story, and they got a bunch of people to say that I admitted to them that I committed this crime, and I went to trial, and the jury believed it. I had a bunch of police get on the stand and say that they heard me admit to one of their reliable informants that I committed this murder. So you add up 6 police that get on the stand and say they all heard me tell somebody that I committed this murder. Then their reliable informant get on the stand and say I committed this murder. And then 5 or 6 other jailhouse informants who are being paid by the police or in some form of way receiving favors for their testimony, they say that I admitted to commit this murder. It didn't take long. I was convicted, and I was sitting on my way. And I'm 22 years. Here I am.
So wasn't there didn't they say they had some tapes or something with them somebody making a confession, and then they couldn't find the tapes?
No, what happened was an informant wore a wire on me one night. Me and a informant for the police. We were out having drinks, kicking it that night, and I didn't know this person wore a wire. This happened on 2 occasions. It was said that I had made these incriminating statements. The police said they heard me make statements to their informant while wearing a wire that I was involved in this murder. And when we got to trial, I told them there's no way I said that. And if so, play the tapes. When we got to trial, the officers admitted that they didn't have the tapes, and they said that they weren't able to record the actual conversation when I made these so-called incriminating statements. Yet the judge allowed the police to repeat what I supposedly said, and so they basically said that I admitted to a murder that they didn't have any proof to show proof of, but the jury believed the police, and they allowed that. They made that admissible.
So once again, just letting everybody know, we are talking to Philip Vance. Philip Vance was railroaded by the justice system. He is now serving time in you're in Rush City, correct, Philip?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rush City.
He's in Rush City. But your case is out. You're out. Are you Dakota County?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So your case is out of Dakota County. And Kathy Keenum, did I say her name right? Kathy Keenum?
Keenum, yes, sir.
So Kathy Keenum Kathy Keenum was like a Amy Klobuchar. When Amy Klobuchar used black men to put herself in the position she's in now, this is what Kathy Keenum was kind of doing the same thing. Philip Vance got caught up in Kathy Keenum's lie and got a bunch of black men put in jail. But there was a somebody at a bar, right? Somebody at a bar said they heard.
It was the barmaid. She's actually the sister of the police that investigated me.
So she was the sister of the police that investigated you, and she told her brother, who is the police, that she heard you say that you shot and killed somebody.
Yes, sir.
And they used her testimony to put you behind bars.
They used her testimony to take it to a grand jury, and they used that to indict me. And then I was charged. And from there on out, that's where everything started accumulating. Yep. So that's how it originally started. It's funny, one of the first hearings I went to when I was charged, they actually put me in front of another brother of them. He was a judge. Because of him being the brother of the police officer and one of the key witnesses on my case, he was forced to recuse himself from my case. He would have been my trial judge.
What year?
Found that was real coincidental.
What year was this, Philip?
I went to trial in 2004.
So 2004, but before that, they had arrested you. They was holding you in jail, correct?
Yes, sir.
And while you're in jail, it's when they tried to put this case to you. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
In the process of the case, on one of the nights that the informant wore a wire on me, I had a firearm on me. I was a non-felon. I had a firearm on me. I was selling drugs, so I had a firearm on me. And in the process of them, they went to go pull her over, and I got out the car and I left her vehicle and I left the gun in her car. She gave the gun to the police, I guess they figured that this would be the gun that committed the crime. They ran it, the ballistics, nothing matched. It wasn't the gun, but they ended up charging me federally, and they gave me a federal charge. I ended up pleading guilty to the possession of the gun federally, and I was sent to a federal prison. And while I was sitting in federal prison, that's when they had time to put this case together.
And they basically just pointed at you almost from the get-go.
Yes, sir. When there were other suspects that actually fit the criteria of the crime, that they had basically more reason to believe other suspects were responsible for this murder over me, but they let all them go and they dropped them from all being suspects. One of the suspects to this murder actually became a witness in my case. He went from being a witness to who they came to question. So somebody that they used to point the finger at me, he was one of the guys that told the police that I allegedly made incriminating statements about my involvement in this case.
So when you're all this time you have said I'm innocent, I did not do that. The gun that you had, did they ever find the weapon that fired that shot to kill the person?
Never. Nope. They never fired it. They never found it at all.
And the firearm you had did not match anything. Did not match anything for the firearm.
Nothing connected me. Nothing connected me to this case. Nothing matched. Nothing. No ballistic. No DNA. No fingerprints. Nothing. No sort. No witnesses pointed me out and put me at the scene of the crime. Nothing.
So, and that's the part that's throwing me off, because they're sitting there going, they've got witness, they got people who witness you there, but the witness was never in the locations, right?
Correct.
So if the witness wasn't in the location, how can the witness say that you did anything?
Oh, hold on. We gotta restart, Rev. Hold on.
All right, hold on one second, people. This is Philip Vance, and Philip Vance is calling us from prison in Rush City. He can only talk for so long, and then the communications get cut, and then hopefully he'll give us a call back here. That was a short 30 minutes. I thought we had 30 minutes.
That was 15, and then now we get another 15.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So I had to pre-schedule these, and they even tried to delete these scheduled visits, saying that we were taking up too much of a time slot. And I'm like, well, we pay for them. I pay for them, so it doesn't make sense why they try to control that if we pay for that. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. This is Rush City, correct?
Yeah, this is Rush City. He's about to. There we go. Yeah, these are paid for, but I'm gonna let him take the mic.
Yeah.
All right.
Rev.
All right. So we was Phil. So we was kind of getting into the witness, the people who say that they heard you say something. So what did they hear you say? So in prison, you said they had informants, correct?
Yes, sir.
So these prison informants that they got to testify against you, were you in prison with them?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, that's how what they do is, they keep records of people, what unit they were in. So when the person says, oh, I was in the unit with Philip, and he told me this, or he told me that, they look and see the records, and they say, oh, it's credible because they were in the same unit, especially when they don't have no evidence. But the thing what these people did was they never called the police to say the things they said that I allegedly said to them until after I was no longer around them and it came on the news. So when it came on the news, a lot of these guys they look at being informants as an opportunity to get out of prison. You know what I'm saying? So they see me on TV, they see I'm charged with this case, this charge. So they say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna call and I can lie." The police, when one thing about people learn in this system is the police will accept anything to get somebody to lock somebody up. They'll they'll take a person that got 10 murders and use them against a person that got one allegation of murder to lock him up. So to lock somebody up, they don't really care about what they use, what it looks like, what the integrity of this person is, what the record of this person is. I got a bunch of guys on my case. When the police, when they got it on TV, they're broadcasting it on TV as a unsolved case with a lack of evidence. So if anybody can help them, please, which is calling for somebody to speak up and say something. You got a bunch of guys who said he was locked up with me who call in and say, "Oh, he told me this." They don't have no details about nothing. They just repeat what they read in the paper or they repeat what the news said. And to a prosecution that has no evidence, all circumstantial evidence, nothing hardcore linking me, they want to use it. They want to use everything they can use. So I guess they look at it like, you know what? If we use these 6 police and these 7 or 8 informants by the police, that may convince the jury he did it. And that's
So
what they did.
yeah, and that doesn't make any sense because you know we have since learned that not only do the police lie, but especially the people who are calling themselves jailhouse informants, because most of the time those jailhouse informants are getting something to lie on you.
For sure. And they all definitely did. But you got to remember, this was 20 plus years ago. So,
Yeah.
I think I think today is more prevalent where people understand and are more up on it, what's going on as far as that situation. Whereas back 22 years ago, you know, it was just, they was getting away with it.
Yeah, they was getting away with a lot of stuff 22 years ago. And the problem is the public, and you know what public I'm talking about, who backs the police no matter what, watched a lot of black men walk into prison. And a lot of them have been getting out. So we've got to figure out a way to get you out of there, because here you are, a just man who was railroaded so a prosecutor can move up in her career. That's basically what it comes down to be at the end of the day. And it's been proven because, like I said, Amy Klobuchar did the same thing. Kathy Keenum tried the same thing. So have you? So you reached out to the governor at all?
I've written him, but I have yet to get any response.
Okay.
I've written everybody in the position of power in the state of Minnesota.
And Keith Ellison, he hasn't said anything back to you?
No word from
So
anybody in a position of power.
so are you raising money or anything for trying to get a new trial? What are we looking at?
I definitely have. I've raised some money to allow me to help me to put together a defense. I got a strong team behind me, and we're definitely bringing a lot of awareness to my case. The Free Philip Vance movement. You go to freephilipvance.com, and if you want to see the details about my case and all the things that's going on and what I've been through and what I got currently going on. Um, I'm definitely, like I said, this become a political thing, and I think that's why a lot of politicians, a lot of these people in power, right is right and wrong is wrong, and I think it don't take a rocket science to understand, that this is an injustice. But I think at the end of the day, when the politics is involved and people's jobs are on the line and people's careers are on the line, I think a lot of people in power are very reluctant to do what's right because, I mean, I'm just a single black man, so, but at the end of the day, they look at my life like I'm worthless. Like, there's no significance to my life. And, you know, bringing my story to the light and doing what's right is going to mess up a lot of lives of a lot of supposedly important people, you know. So I'm continuing my fight. I feel amazing about the team I have, and I feel great about the push I've been making, and I feel soon that we're gonna force the state of Minnesota to have to make the right choice.
So who can we write? If someone's looking at this situation right now and they go, you know what, I feel propelled to write somebody. Who would you say we could write?
I start from the top. I write, Kathy Keenan is the one who has the lock and key to this case. If she felt like, this was something that's wrong, and I want to write it, she can write it whenever she chooses to. I don't understand why, she ignores what's been done. Like I said before on the last show I was on with you, if Kathy Keenan would have stepped up and said, you know what, I didn't know the police was like this. I didn't know they were corrupt. I didn't know they were rogue, and I would have never used the evidence that they brought to me to convict him. If I'd have known these police were like this, I think she could have saved a lot of face. I think she still can. But I think that she's in a position of power right now. I think she has political aspects, aspirations, and I think something to this magnitude would definitely be harmful to her dreams and aspirations moving forward in her career. You brought up Amy Klobuchar. She was in the same position, but she came forward. She did what needed to be done. She did what was right. And look at her. She's a congresswoman now. Her career is still soaring because behind all the mistakes and the wrong that she had done in the past, her work ethic and her work for herself spoke for itself. So if she's who she says she is, she ain't got nothing to worry about. We all make mistakes. I think it'd be good for the state of Minnesota, for somebody that's in a position of power, to admit wrong, to admit injustice, to admit that things was fucked up and it wasn't supposed to happen like this, and they were bamboozled by the Metro Gang Strike Force, and that they messed up a lot of people's lives in the process. I think when you try to use you want people to be American, and you want people to love this country, and you want people to be happy to be Americans, but you turn around and you contradict all the things that this country stands for by ignoring justice and injustices. I think you make the state look real bad, and you make the country look bad as well. So I think somebody that's in the position of power needs to step forward and do what's right. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
has all the power. Keith Ellison has the power. Governor Walz has the power, but we have yet to see any of them come forward and do what's right.
And you're not, and I'm sure you're not the only one, Philip, that is sitting behind bars. That these prosecutors and people who want to be big shots politically have railroaded and put behind bars. But there comes a time, like right now, that these people have to step up and do what's right. And just like you said, you know what I mean? Kathy Keenan could step up and do what's right and help her career a lot more than where it's now. If she stepped up and says, you know what, we made a mistake 20 years ago, I see that now. Let's look at Philip's case again, and let's look at what we got wrong, and then make a right. She could do that tomorrow, correct?
You know, at the end of the day, when I look at a person in power and I look at our leaders, I don't want a leader that's perfect or portrays to be perfect. I want a leader that says, you know what, I'm human just like you, who's been through things, who's been through adversity, and who's made mistakes, and know how to show people that you can bounce back from making mistakes and still be great and amazing. I guess she has yet to figure that out.
Yeah, but
I'm still keep hope and optimism that one day it'll hit her and she will have some type of compassion for me in my situation. You know, I've been locked up 22 years. I've been away from all my kids, my whole life, my family, and I deserve to be free. I killed nobody. I hurt nobody. I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but to be given a life sentence for something that I wasn't involved with, a part of, or responsible for is just wrong.
So when 20 years ago, you know, no, I don't mean to bring it up, but
hey, Rev, we got a minute before it disconnects him, and that's it for the night. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
oh, okay. Hey, Phil. So you got a minute. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the minute to say what do you want to say to the people?
Kathy Keenum is the person that can help me get out of here. Keith Ellison can help me get out of here. Governor Walls can help me get out of here. You know, I just need people to email them and let them know I'm Philip Vance. I've been innocently, I've been wrongfully locked up for 22 years for something I didn't do. You know, I just want people to understand my story, understand I've dealt with this for a long time. I'm not bitter. This has made me a strong individual. You know, I got a lot of love in my heart, and I just want to be free. I want to be able to spend time with my family and be happy again. That's it. I wish everybody out there the best. And love your neighbors, love your family, families first, and take care of the people that love you always. Y'all have a great day.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you much.
Appreciate you. For sure, bro.
All right. Let's see. So I was going to tell you something, Rev.
Well, I wanted to make sure that people understand a lot of these prosecutors back in the day, your Amy Klobuchar's, used a lot of these people.
Sorry about that.
No problem. But I wanted to make sure that people, before we go, that people understand who's on here with us, understand that a lot of these prosecutors use these cases to further their career. Like I said, Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar is where she's at right now because she put black men in jail. That is the honest truth. And
Yeah.
people don't realize that.
Right.
So it's like the lady. It's almost because this is what that whole situation that happened down in Rochester when when I was thinking about having Phil on. It kind of reminded me of that. This lady got paid for calling somebody the N-word with the ER. She got paid. They rewarded her for that. Just like these prosecutors got rewarded for locking up black men. Think about that if you think about that, think about the mindset of America. This is America.
And here's the other thing. He had to open a GoFundMe in order to fund the fight for his freedom. We had to open up a GoFundMe. The Free Philip Vance team has been working feverishly to earn this money uh, to help with the legal team. And we're still about $7,000 or so, right around there, maybe a little bit under 7,000 that we still need. But so I wanted to let you know of that. The petition for his post-conviction relief was filed February 27th. So there would have been a 60-day timeline that Kathy Keenan would have had to respond, which would have been April 28th of this year. The reason why she hasn't had to respond is because there was an anonymous tip that came out about a possible alternate perpetrator. So now the CRU has used that to their advantage to, again, not respond, not write his review, not release him from their investigation, even though they've had his case since 2020, 2021. And people that have applied for their assistance after him have already been exonerated or released. So that's another situation. And then you also asked about who people can reach out to in power. Here's the crazy thing. He said Keith Ellison, Kathy Keena, and Governor Walz. I was there at the end of April. Governor Keith Ellison had an event, a town hall event at Hopkins High School. I registered for that event. Hold on, I have to sneeze. To go and ask how they felt about community safety, knowing that they've locked up innocent people and the actual perpetrators are still free in the state of Minnesota. They had my photo and my information circulating with the police and the security at that event to pick me out and not allow me to enter that event because my question was about Philip Vance. I was refused, and I have it on video. I was refused entrance into a public town hall that I had a ticket for.
And this was a an event for Keith Ellison.
Keith Ellison and Congresswoman Kelly. Oh man, I can't think of her last name. But it was a town hall event at Hopkins High School at the end of March, or at the end of April, just recently. I can get you her name, but yeah. So the security team told me that I was denied entrance by the event organizers, and I asked which event organizers. Was it Keith Ellison's office? They wouldn't give me any information. They said that I knew why I was being denied
So
entrance. Now
so
wait, 3 hours before that, I was leaving another political office in Brooklyn Center, and I was pulled over by the sheriff, not the local sheriff, a sheriff not in that jurisdiction. And they pulled me over. They said they were the sheriff. They pulled me over and said that they were pulling me over because the GPS was in my window. Okay. And then they left without giving me a badge number. So that happened 3 hours before the event. The day before that event, I was at Kathy Keena's office during a meeting with her commissioners, and they put me on the agenda, and I spoke about community safety and him being wrongfully convicted and the perpetrator still being free. So within a 48-hour period after I was at Dakota County and then was in Kathy Keena's office trying to speak to her, my photo and information was circulating in Minnesota with the police. I was pulled over and refused entrance into another event. And I'm not saying it was me. I'm saying it's because I'm bringing the facts about his case for more people to hear it, and they don't want that. So if it's not political, why are they worried about it? And if we were just speaking rubbish, why would they be so concerned about his story being heard?
well, let me go back to the venue where Keith Ellison was for a second, because I did have a question.
Yeah.
Did you see did you see anyone else being denied entrance
No.
into this?
No.
Did you see anyone else say that,
No.
had anyone else say, well, they wouldn't let me in also? They were outside upset that they did not get into this here event.
No, not while I was at the event, and nobody's reached out to me. And when I pulled in, 2 officers pulled in behind me in another parking spot and sat behind my car. And when I walked across the parking lot, the lady was literally coming out the door to stop me. And she said, "You can't come into the event." I said, "You don't even know who I am." She said, "I do know who you are, and we've been told not to allow you entrance into the event."
Wow. Well, that's the Democratic Party for you, first off.
Yeah.
The Democrats will find a way to kill your voice any way they possibly can, especially when you're fighting. See, and this is the thing that gets me about the Democrats. And this is what pisses me off about the black community. Because the Democrats, just like an Amy Klobuchar, has locked up more black men than the Republicans have. They've literally locked up more black men than the Republicans have. But the Democrats run around and tell other Democrats that the Republicans are racist. That's why you shouldn't vote for them. The Democrats sit there and put down a narrative of hate, and it's the Democrats who are actually. I got into an argument just the other day. I just want to tell you the argument. I didn't bring this up, but I'm bringing this up to show you it's the Democrats. I got in an argument with a white liberal woman who was upset, who got upset at me because I was told, and my research that I did, that black women have more abortions by race than any other race. So I was like, wow, we need to get to the bottom of this. I don't understand why black babies are being killed. This lady got upset at me. Democrat, white liberal woman. She gets upset at me because I want to save black lives. She was mad.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what it is.
It's these racist ass Democrat, and they do it. They do it in a way of going, well, we're going to give you something, which they never really give anything. As long as you stay with us, we'll fight for you. We'll fight those racist Republicans for you. But they're the ones that's in the back of the back of the house trying to figure out how to get rid of us.
Yeah.
Just like the same thing with Phil. Kathy Keenum found a way to get rid of a black man. Amy Klobuchar found a way to get rid of a black man. They do it all the time. And here Philip is sitting in prison. So Kathy Keenum, a white liberal, can keep moving up the ladder. And no matter how many times you explain it like that to black people, they're still too stupid to put two and two together. Why? Because of the gatekeepers in the community who's getting all the money to sit here and say, oh, yeah, I'm a violence interrupter that don't do a damn thing.
Yeah. Remember also, I told you this on the last time, Kathy Keenum was only in her office. She was the first white woman to be elected as Dakota County prosecutor, and she'd only been in her position for about a year and a half when she took this case on for Philip Vance, to prosecute Philip Vance. So now 22 years later, now she's the head of Dakota County, the Dakota County prosecutor's office, Dakota County attorney.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. The Democrats have used black bodies going all the way back during time. I mean, heck, they used to hang us from trees. Do we expect anything different from them? Just because they figured out a way to keep us down? to keep us in a small area where they know where we're at, so we can throw them away. Now you got a case where, like you said, they're going to sit there and go, well, these jailhouse informants. Well, everybody knows a jailhouse informant is looking for an out or looking for something.
Right.
But yet you gonna pull these bums on the stand and go, oh, tell them what he told me. Look, I've been in enough prisons talking to people, dealing with people, to know that jailhouse informants are anyway.
It's a red flag. It should be a red flag on anybody's case. And the crazy thing is that Kathy Keena's closing argument, she said that she admitted that she did give them an incentive for their testimony, and the judge didn't blink. Didn't blink.
I wouldn't expect them to, because half of them are in cahoots anyway to help these people do the things that they do. As corrupt as this system is, that's why it cracks me up. That's why I laugh a lot of times when people are sitting there going, well, Derek Chauvin has to this and Derek Chauvin has to that. And I sit here and go, I've never said that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. I said Derek Chauvin was the one. And the same system that has put many black men in prison is the same system that put Derek Chauvin away. And just like I said, if Derek Chauvin needs to get out and needs to get another fair trial, then every black man that has been railroaded by the system and by the corrupt prosecutors needs to have a fair trial. If they're going to fight for Derek Chauvin, then fight for Philip Vance. When you fight for Philip Vance, I will fight for Derek Chauvin also.
Listen, I got to go, but I want to close with this. Next week, I think we should dig into, and I'm going to ask him, but I want to leave your viewers with this, and I want to leave you with this, and we can talk more about it on a side note if you want to know more. The Metro Gang Strike Force.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, they terrorize that community. Just know that so many of their officers touched Philip Vance's case, that if they have to admit they made a mistake, hundreds of cases are going to have to be looked at because of the Metro Gang Strike Force. Hundreds of cases. Now, just know that one of those officers retired and lives 20 minutes from me.
Well,
and you know how bad I want to drive over there and ask him, if you know the facts now, what would be different? What do you think about this? What do you think about the bullshit that you guys did? And this man has been sitting in there for 22 years. But I feel like they don't even care. Like that, it was just another number to them. It was just another body they felt didn't matter. And so just know the Metro Gang Strike Force is the force behind this case. And I'm going to give Kathy Keena a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that maybe at the time she was green and she trusted these officers to know their job. But in 2009, when they were disbanded by the FBI for being so corrupt,
so corrupt,
that's when she should have said, hold up a minute. I have some cases that I think should be reviewed because I'm a woman of integrity. She can't even do that. So I question her integrity from that point forward.
Yeah. So corrupt. And I'm glad you said corrupt, because they was so bad. What people need to understand is this group was so bad. So bad. They had to disband them because they was so corrupt in the things that they were doing and the way that they was acting. They had to disband this group of people. And what you just said, I don't understand why they didn't pull every single case from them and run it to see what was going on. And if they're going to start somewhere, that's where they need to start, with that group.
And the problem would be from 1996 to 2008, they'd have to open hundreds, maybe thousands of cases. Right. And Minnesota doesn't want to admit that.
No, They don't want to start down that road because a lot of people, not only black people. Let's make sure we understand that, because I've been to the Plymouth jail, and they've got white guys in there, and they say the same thing. Rev, I've been railroaded, bruh. They've got me in here for nothing, and I don't have the money to get out. I don't have the people behind me, and they have to sit there and they haven't done anything. Right. The system, until America really starts understanding just how corrupt and bad the system is. Then we look at the police officers in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. 3 police officers got off. We watched the videotape. We watched these police officers beat this man to a pulp, and they got off. The system is so bad, it's not even funny. So that's why I tell people, everybody always talking about, well, Derek Chauvin this, Derek Chauvin that. When you start coming out and really understanding how bad this system is, then I can get behind anything anybody say. But until then, the same system that got Philip Vance locked up is the same system that got Derek Chauvin behind bars. And if Derek Chauvin, y'all feel Derek Chauvin should be let out, then Philip Vance should be let out also.
First.
Period, point blank.
First. He should be exonerated, his name restored, and there should be a public apology. I mean, it's crazy. 22 years innocent. It blows my mind. I can't even wrap my mind around the thought of that. I can't. But I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the airtime. Let's we'll plan something again soon. We'll try to figure out. I think this worked out. We just got to get some better audio working out, but we'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds like a deal. We'll talk to you later, all right?
All right. Thanks, Rev.
All righty. We'll talk to you. All righty. Bye-bye now. All right. So we been going around and around trying to get that interview going with Philip Vance. Again, if you want to look into his story, please go to philipvance.com. Look him up. You can see what he's been going through. 20-something years in prison. The man has been saying he's been not guilty for years. Kathy Keenum has been one of. I mean, what do you call it? The Daughters of the Confederate. That is the daughter. That is what these white liberal women, Democrats, are. They're a stone's throw from the Daughters of the Confederate. Period, point blank. Look it up, people. I'm not saying it just to say it. Like I said, I got into an argument with one because I wanted to save black kids. I'm arguing with this lady who is upset at me because I want to save black kids. I'm kidding you not. And I'm sitting there with my mouth open going, you're fighting me to make sure that black kids are being aborted. Don't you know? I want you to understand what we're doing right now. It's the same thing. Like I said, the Democrats, especially in Minnesota, that's why they got the blue wall. The reason you can't get past Hennepin County, the reason the Republicans can't get past Duluth and Rochester and a few other little squares is because the Democrats have got the people in those areas to believe that the Republican Party is a racist party. You go downtown, go over to North Minneapolis, and say, what do you think about a Republican? And they're going to tell you. That's one of the reasons why you got Republicans in Hennepin County that don't even run as Republicans. They run as independents because they know the stench if they say they're Republican. But the Democratic Party is one of the most racist and hateful parties They have never changed. They act like they changed, but they have never. And I can say that because I was part of the party. Now, I'm not saying the Republicans ain't racist. I hung out with the Tea Party. Yeah, I did. But the Democrats, they are wolves in sheep clothing. We love black people, but if we got the chance to eliminate them, trust me, we will. That's why they put us in jail like you wouldn't believe. That's why they fight to make sure that black babies can be aborted. That's why they keep a lot of black people in the ghetto. If we keep them in the ghetto, then the kids are not going to grow up and learn how to read. They ain't going to get jobs, period. It is the democratic system when it comes to black people. And a lot of black people, guess what they don't want to do? They don't want to think about that, especially here in Minnesota. The black folks in Minnesota, right? I mean, they just had a big brouhaha. Bunch of black people fighting over the change, the little bit of money that Hennepin County gives out in grants. Literally had a fight. Just fighting over the little money that the Democrats dangle in their face. To the point that they don't see actually what Democrats do. Period, point blank. Now, all that stuff that happened with George Floyd. All that stuff that happened with George Floyd. And you would think things would be better. You would think some changes would be made. Ain't nothing better. Ain't no change made. 14-year-old boy just got shot and killed downtown. Just the other night, selling weed. 17-year-old and there's another one shot some 22, 23, 24-year-old cat. It was buying like an ounce or 2 ounces of weed from him. Shot and killed him. And we just go on about our business. No big deal. 12, 13, 14-year-old boys walking around with AR-15s. No big deal. It's like we're numb. Literally, it's like we're numb to all of this stuff. And in the minute somebody comes in and say, black Minnesotans, and I have to shake them, wake up. You get the gatekeepers. That's who I have to fight. That's who I have to fight. Because all the shooting, all the killings that happened, you ain't heard nothing from Tim Walz. Because black people don't expect much of him. You haven't heard anything from the lieutenant governor. Because black people don't expect much out of him. You ain't heard nothing from the lieutenant governor from the attorney general, because black people don't expect much out of them. You ain't heard nothing from any black senator or House of Representative, because black people don't expect much out of them. Because if they did expect something, then we would have change. We don't have change because black people don't expect anything from them. Abby said, I need that T-shirt with the Jesus. Oh, yeah, you like that? You know what? I got this. I got this from Abby. I got this. Hold on. I got this here. from Universal Studios when we went to Universal Studios in California. I thought it was pretty cool, right? Anyway, she said she needed that. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring Phil on tonight and let some people hear his story. Some people who have never heard his story. Some people who have never known about how corrupt the system is, how corrupt the system can be. I think a lot of people know how corrupt it is, but they don't care as long as it don't hurt them. As long as it hurt everybody else or anybody else, as long as it doesn't do anything to me and mine, then we're cool. I can live with that corrupt system because I think it's keeping the bad people away from me. And what you don't realize and understand, especially that gang task force that was over there with Kathy Keenum and that for they were so bad, people. Look it up. Only thing, use your computer for something other than talking down to somebody on it. Look up the gang task force that they had over there in Dakota County. Look at the gang task force that they had over there in St. Paul. Please look. It was so corrupt they had to disband it. It was so bad. It was so bad. And I don't think having people like that is fair to anybody. It's not fair to black people, and it's not fair to white people. But it was pathetic. It was so bad. But anyway, I've got to get off of this thing because I got to go plug up. I forgot what we're doing. Oh, Brad and I are doing, what do we got tomorrow? We got a lunch or something like that. Hold on one second. Brad Kohler. There we go. Malone's Bar and Grill. That's where we're going to be tomorrow. We're going to be having lunch at Malone's Bar and Grill. I think it's at 1 o'clock. I'm trying to think, where is it? Is that in Maple Grove? Where's Malone's Bar and Grill? Trader Joe's. I think that's in, Maple Grove. Okay. So we'll be in Maple Grove tomorrow at Malone's Bar and Grill. We're having I don't know if that's a eating meat or what we're doing, but that's where we're going to be at tomorrow. But anyway, fam, hey, I appreciate you guys for coming hanging out with us. We're going to be having some more things on Phil, as much information as we can put out there. We are going to be doing that. So, again, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate you. It wasn't a normal talk night, but you know what? I'm willing to give up that so I can bring you guys some information and things of that sort. And, again, I always tell people, if you want to come hang out with me, let me know. I will send you the I will send you the information, and you can come hang out with me. But other than that, fam, y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good tomorrow. We'll more than likely see you on Friday. Peace, fam. I'm out.